All right, in example 6, we've got another absolute value equation, and we want to solve for all the x values that satisfy this equation. All right, this is a little more complicated, but that's okay. Let's take it one step at a time. First thing I'm seeing here is that we have two absolute values. When you're solving an absolute value, it really helps to have just one if you can do it. So I can also see that this absolute value on the right-hand side has a common factor of 3. So first thing I'm going to do is factor out a 3. So absolute value of 3 times x minus 3 and then minus 12. All right, so the right-hand side becomes that, and we can just leave this as it is. Oops, 3. And now you can see we have both our x minus 3. But here I have 3 times that. I can actually pull that 3 out because it's not going to affect whether the thing inside the absolute value is positive or negative, right? That 3 is positive, so I could just pull that out and write this as 3 times the absolute value of x minus 3 minus 12, right, is equal to the absolute value of 3. Okay. All right, so now I've got the absolute value of x minus 3 on both sides. I've got 1 on the left, and I have 3 of them, right? This is the same, this is 3 times that. And so I could move them all to one side. I kind of like working with positives, so I'm probably going to subtract the absolute value of x minus 3 from both sides, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, I'm going to subtract the absolute value of x minus 3 from both sides, minus the absolute value of x minus 3. Okay. And I'm also going to move the 12 over to the other side, so I'm just going to add 12 to both sides. All right. Oops, 12. This should be a 12. All right. So that gets rid of the 12 on this side, and it gets rid of the absolute value of x minus 3, right? Because that just becomes 0. All right, so let's rewrite what we have. This side is now just 12. And this, I have 3 times the absolute value of x minus 6 minus the absolute value of x minus 6. All right, now I can subtract those things and get 2 times the absolute value of x minus 3. Okay, I have 3 of them and I'm subtracting 1 of them. All right, or you could think of it as, okay, I have 3y minus y is equal to 2y, right? Where y is equal to the absolute value of x minus 3. You could do a substitution like that if you want to. So there I've subtracted and I've moved all the absolute values to one side. The only thing I don't like is this 2, but I can divide both sides by 2, right? All right, so then I get 6 is equal to the absolute value of x minus 3. All right, we know how to deal with that, right? We can split it into 2, right? This means that the thing inside the absolute values, if it was already positive, right, and then we just left it as positive. So either either x minus 3 is equal to 6, and we just didn't need to change the sign of it, or x minus 3 was equal to minus 6, and we changed the sign of it to be 6. All right, so solve these two. I'm just going to add 3 to both sides. I get x equals 9. Over here, add 3 to both sides. I get x is equal to minus 3, right? I'm just adding 3 to both sides in both cases. So my answer is x is equal to negative 3 or 9. All right, and again, you can check it. You can take those two values and put it back up into the original equation and make sure it actually gives you a true statement, right? If I put in negative 3, right, I would get the absolute value of negative 6, right? Negative 3 minus 3 is negative 6. So absolute value of that would be 6. Over here, if I take negative 3 times 3, that's negative That's a negative 9, and then minus 9 is a minus 18, which becomes a positive 18. I subtract 12 from it, and I get 6. Okay, you could just do the same thing with positive 9. Plug it back in there, and it should give you a true statement if you've got the right answer. It's always a good way to check. All right, that's all I have for you, and I will see you in class.